Hello. Now I will try to explain the working principle of hydraulic disc brakes. First, to say that generally all the brakes, even rim brakes, mechanical or hydraulic disc brakes, they all work by providing something called mechanical advantage. I will post links to my website that explain this in detail. Here I'll just briefly walk you through it, and I will also post a link to the advantages and disadvantages of disc brakes, either hydraulic or mechanical, compared to rim brakes. But now, to get to the point, mechanical advantage means, we'll first use this for an obvious example. Here we have like a small lever, and if I put it like this and want to lift something, there is no mechanical advantage because this length and the road that is traveled by either end is the same. So I will have no mechanical advantage trying to use some force using this lever. If I put it the other way around, I'm putting myself at a disadvantage, and this way I need to put a lot of force to lift the lever alone, not to mention lifting any weight. But if I use something like this, then I have a mechanical advantage. I must move this for a lot of travel to get this to move any meaningful way, any meaningful height. So it allows me to use smaller strength at a longer travel distance, to use a higher strength but with a shorter travel distance. My English is not very well. I hope the demonstration will be enough, but you understand the principle of lever. Now with disc brakes, rim brakes use some sort of mechanical advantage, doubling or something like that usually, but with disc brakes that is even exaggerated, because the travel that pads make when you put a disc inside here, it's like one part of a millimeter of travel, while the lever has the same amount of travel like rim brakes. So this allows for a lot of mechanical advantage, but the downside is that pads are very close, and the rubbing is often the problem with disc brakes in general, and it is one of their disadvantages. More on that is on my website. Now for disc brakes, instead of a lever being something like this, like 1:2 ratio, they provide something like this, a lot higher mechanical advantage, even though their main upside is the modulation and good braking performance even in the wet and muddy conditions, but this is another good part or good point with disc brakes. Now with hydraulics, this same principle of having mechanical advantage is done using fluid. It's either mineral oil, like which most Shimano brakes, or dot brake fluid, but the principle is the same. Brake piston pushes along a longer travel distance smaller amount of fluid that then is pulled, that gets pushed in a wider area of brake pad. So that allows the smaller force to be used at the lever with longer travel to exert very strong force, braking force, but with very short travel of pads. Here I will demonstrate it. You will be able to see here there will be hardly any movement of this like brake piston, while this that simulates caliper piston will make a lot of movement going all the way to the bottom, while there will be hardly any movement noticeable here. I should have taken a slightly smaller syringe so that this is a bit more obvious, but this one really exaggerates it. You can hardly see any movement. This is just rubber. You see, we made a movement like this, and this is hardly even moved. It works vice versa when I push it from this end. I need to exert a lot of force to push liquid through a narrowed canal, and if there was any sort of braking force, pads hitting against the disc at this side, I would not be able to exert a lot of force. If I use this, which is practically the same as having a lever like this, I'm at a disadvantage, and here I will just demonstrate it, this in case I overdo it. See, I have to put a lot of force, and this hardly moves. Well, a lot of fluid is pushed. and I can practically stop myself with the finger because it's so little mechanical advantage. Okay, that's it for the principle of working of these brakes. The next video will show the principle of changing fluid and eliminating any air bubbles. Thank you for watching.